All of these agencies now in our government are now captured by the industries they're supposed to regulate, and they function essentially as sock puppets for those industries.
Yeah.
And, I've spent my 40 years suing them. And, but they've sold democracy down the river. And they're, destroying the infrastructure in our country. And the public health agencies don't do public health.
Yeah.
They're deep concern from the top. I'm not saying there aren't people in those agencies, including the CIA, who are idealistic and patriotic. But the top people in those agencies do not care. They are interested in one thing, which is corporate profit taking and serving the industries that they're supposed to be regulating.
So we have one force that's fairly inarguable, that there's an idea and a zeitgeist of profit at all cost, right? And this is what's causing all of this capture and all of the collusion between these different. It's just profit at all costs, even if that means risking human life. It's like profit above everything else. So there's a new God that's being worshipped, and it's profit. That's one thread that I think it's very hard to argue that exists. And that's what the corporate beast actually is built for. It's built to grow through profits. It doesn't have, a corporation by its nature doesn't have its own moral compass. It's not bound by their own connection to the divine. We're in worship of the God of profit and money. So we have that force at play. And I want to talk about potential other forces at play.
Let me comment on that.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm a capitalist. I believe in free market capitalism. What we have now in this country is not free market capitalism. It's corporate crony capitalism. It's not democracy. This wonderful interplay of democracy and free market capitalism that reinforce each other. What we have is our exemplary democracy has been essentially replaced by a system of plutocracy and corporate kleptocracy, and these corporations have been unleashed by captive regulatory agencies to strip mine our country, to commoditize our people, our landscapes, our waters, our children's health, and to make money for themselves. So, is the problem that corporations are greedy? To me, that's not the problem. Corporations are supposed to be greedy. Corporations are entities that are they have no morality and they are immortal. And I think it was Franklin who said, if corporations were angels, we wouldn't need regulation, but they're not. So we know what they are, and we don't want to change that. To me, corporate. Listen. If you see Walmart or another big corporation bringing water bottles, bottled water, pallets of bottled water down to the Katrina victims or, hurricane victims, they're not doing that out of altruism. They're not doing that out of philanthropy. They are doing that because that public act will, in their minds, accrue to greater shareholder value in one way or another, through goodwill or whatever. And if they're doing it for a genuine reason, like they just want to give away, something great with no reciprocal benefit, they could be sued by any of their shareholders, and the shareholder will win that lawsuit because the company is not allowed to turn itself into a philanthropy. It is not allowed to do true altruism. It is required to spend its money in a way that benefits the shareholders and that accrues to shareholder value. So, there's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't mean there aren't a lot of people, CEOs of companies, and I would say probably most of them, that actually do want to do good things for our country. The problem is that they're not allowed to under that framework because they're not allowed to turn the corporation into a philanthropy. So knowing that corporations only operate for their own benefit and they're legally required to do so, that's a good thing. because we want people to give to corporations to invest in them, so that the corporation can assemble lots of money and then invest that and create jobs and wealth and prosperity for our country. That's a good thing. And if the shareholder does not believe the corporation is acting solely in his or her interest, he's unlikely to make that kind of investment.
Yeah.
But knowing that, we would be nuts to let that company run our government, because he's not running it for our sake. He's not. They're not investing millions of dollars in lobbying and political donations out of patriotic impulses,
Right,
or out of a love for humanity. They're making those investments because they believe that they can change U.S. policy away from benefiting the rest of us, our country, and make it so it benefits their shareholders. And so it's crazy for us to let corporations run our government. And that is the problem, is that we've let them take control of our government. We now have, kind of this perfect merger between state and corporate power that goes by another name, which is fascism. And when a country becomes the servant of its business owners, that's technically what that's called.
Yeah. I heard Russell Brand recently talking about how a large percentage of, senators own particular stocks in certain companies that they're regulating, and why, and all of the lobbying dollars. And he's like, just, if you're a public servant in that way, quote, public servant, which clearly isn't the case in our political climate, you shouldn't be able to own stocks in companies that you're regulating over. You shouldn't actually, even the whole process of lobbying dollars, which influence decisions and campaign contributions, the whole system needs to be reimagined, clearly.